coming in, go ahead and put in the comments where you coming from. Today's the finale of the Friend Finance Closing the Health Gap webinar.
Perfect.
Which y'all from coming from in the comments. Coming where you coming from. Friend Finance, you coming from straight from the east side with the beach ride in Indianapolis. Make sure you hit that share tag as well. Bottom left hand corner, hit share. Share it to the public. It's time for game time. What's going on? What's going on? Welcome. My name is Michael Tolliver. I'd like to start by welcoming you guys to the first annual, the finale part 4 of the Friend Finance Closing the Health Gap webinar. In this webinar, we want to educate and shine a light on chronic health issues that are affecting our Black communities at a disproportionate rate. We are bringing on speakers that are experts in their fields to talk about various topics that are contributing factors in the health gap. And I'm going to give you guys a quick recap from the previous weeks, previous episodes. We've had 3 previous episodes. Week 1, we brought on Miguel Johns. He discussed and gave us a general overview of chronic diseases. And then next week 2, we brought on a kidney specialist and Dr. Anderson. She dove in a little deeper, talking about chronic diseases and chronic kidney disease in particular. So that was a great show as well. And then week 3, last week, we brought on Coach Justin Ochoa. He discussed addressing the high obesity rate in this country. And we talked about fitness and how we can mentally and physically improve our lifestyles. And they talked about benefits of youth sports. So those the first 3 episodes was great, and it was fun and very informative. So make sure y'all go back, check those out if you haven't already. And today, man, it's about to be another banger. We're about to close this series out with a bang. We got a very special guest. Today, he's going to talk about proper hydration, differences in the drinking water that we're drinking right now, and then we're going to talk about elevating our mind, body, and soul. So without further ado, I'd like to bring on the founder and CVO of Rainwater, Mr. Alexander.
Hey, thanks, Mike. Glad to be here, man.
Yep. How you doing today, Alexander? Appreciate you for tapping in with us today.
Hey, man. I am doing great. I'm grateful, man. I'm doing wonderful, happy, ecstatic, and thanks a lot, man, for inviting me to your platform. Happy to be here.
Yep, man. I appreciate you for coming in and always ready to go when we call for you to come and, drop some knowledge for our Freedom Finder family. So, we always appreciate that and everything that you bring and the knowledge and value that you bring. So thank you. So for the Freedom Finder family who don't know, I know you've been on the previous episode of the Consistent Daily Action Morning Show. For those who missed that show and for people who hasn't came and gave me had a chance to see our Consistent Daily Action Morning Show, can you tell us a little bit more about yourself? What do you do and where you from?
Cool, man. So as you mentioned, I'm the founder and CVO of Rainwater, here based in Austin, Texas. It's exactly what it is. It's actually rainwater. We harvest rainwater, basically capturing it right out of the air, putting it all together, putting it in bottles, and giving it to the people in a form of gratitude. My background basically is water memory, also water structure. I am an advocate of emotional energy and a steward of Dr. Masaru Emoto. For those who don't know, is a great Japanese scientist who studied water for 40 plus some odd years. And that's the extent of my background.
All right. Love that. So if you get everybody that's viewing right now, if you're in the comments, if you're ready to go and ready to learn something, go ahead and put a thumbs up because today we're about to end it off this finale with a banger. So really, really excited. So make sure y'all put that in the comments. For Alexander, what makes rainwater healthier than traditional bottled water?
That's a good question. Rainwater versus traditional bottled water. Rainwater is healthier and it's naturally filtered, meaning that it takes its toll through the clouds and through the water cycle that we all learned in school, where it takes it up through the clouds and Mother Nature does her thing and then dumps it right back down on us. So that's a cycle in itself. It's also healthier. It's naturally distilled, and that's the distilling process by Mother Nature. The second piece of that is it contains few salts, minerals, the treatment of chemicals, pharmaceuticals that's often found in municipal tap water. And although rainwater is also pure, right? It's pure, natural. There is some pollens in the atmosphere, but once it hits the ground or come close to the ground, that's normally dissipated. Um, Also, as I mentioned, rainwater is soft, easily absorbed into the body. It's good for the hair, it's good for the nails, it's good for the skin, it's good for all the organs that we have. Example is we know what happens to rain. I'm sorry, we know what happens to grass after it rains. It grows dramatically. And grass is an organic organism, right? Same thing that we're made of. Um, Also, lastly, it also carries oxygen more than the other waters, whether that's municipal water or groundwater, surface water, whatever. So those are the benefits of rainwater, and that's what makes it a lot more healthier than traditional bottles of water.
Okay. All right. Love that. And so, can you also talk to us about the importance of proper hydration, and how it benefits the body?
Sure. So this is a good topic, man. I'm passionate about this one as well. As you know, you heard the saying that we are roughly 65, 70% water. I disagree. I believe that we're roughly 80 to 90% water if we really look at it. And if you look at the water weight of the body, is some people say 60%, but every cell, tissue, and organ in our body needs water to properly work. Um, Water gets rid of waste through our urination, precipitation, bowel movements. Water keeps us our temperature normal. Water lubricates and cushions our joints. So water is crucial. It's critical to our heart health as well, which I'll get into a little bit later. Um, but your heart is consistently working, pumping roughly 2,000 gallons of blood a day. And by hydrating and staying hydrated, this helps. It helps us overall. Um, from the hydration and dehydration, and I like to give some definitions, some clarity, if I can. Um, the definition of dehydration, right, which is the harmful reduction of the amount of water in your body. Hydration, on the other hand, is the incorporation of water molecules adequately in the body and hydrates the body. Um, the importance of that and knowing that the difference in the information, which I'll dive a little bit deeper, is your urine can be an indicator if you're dehydrated. Example, if the color, right? If it's colorless or uh, light yellow, usually you're hydrated. So that's your body telling you that okay, you have enough water in you, you're okay to go. On the flip side of that, in dehydration, the urine is usually dark yellow or amber color, and this is a clear sign of dehydration. Um, to go a little bit, dive a little bit deeper, and seeing some symptoms that we talked about urine. We talked about the different colors in the urine. Also, dry mouth, right? You have dry mouth. You see people a lot with dry mouth. That's also an indicator. Sleepiness, fatigue is another one. Extreme thirst, headaches is another one. Confusion, dizziness, being lightheaded. No tears when someone cries. They have no tears, man. They're dehydrated. Um, and one of the things that really hits home, especially in the community, our black community, is that dehydration causes strain again on the heart, man, where your blood is really pumping uh, around your circulatory system, but your heart is working, is working double time to produce these volumes of water. But if you're dehydrated and it doesn't have the amount of liquid to actually flow and flow through, you're doing yourself some harm, man. Some real deep harm. Um, Proper hydration, man, is also very important to little kids and the elderly population. Those two populations are the most vulnerable, especially the elder population when it comes to chronic illness and disease, and also athletes. Athletes too have to be properly hydrated when it comes to that. If I can share too some very important points about how much water should you drink, because a lot of people ask that question when it comes to proper hydration. Well, how much water should I drink? The U.S. National Academy of Science and Engineering and Medicine came out with a study and determined that about 11.5 cups, or that's actually about 3.5 liters of the big waters of fluid that men should drink a day. With women, it's about 11 and a half cups, call it like 2.5 big liters of fluid per day that they should drink. And a great a great rule of thumb for people to understand if they don't understand the liters or the cups or want to take a measurement is that you take roughly half of your body weight or even your full body weight and convert that into ounces, right? And then that will give you your proper amount to be hydrated throughout the day. Example, let's say I weigh 150 pounds, right? That would be roughly 75 to 150 ounces of water that I should drink a day. And going back to the example I gave, how do I calculate that? Again, that's like 2.5 liter bottles or 4.5 liter bottles of water in order to do that. So those are some of the things to do for proper hydration and keep yourself hydrated. And I encourage everybody to read more for the symptoms of hydration. And if you guys are experiencing anything, severe hydration, dizziness, weakness, anything like that, consult your doctors. Please.
Yep. And I like how you said as everybody knows, like it's super important to hydrate ourselves because if you get too dehydrated, like I'm sure people know by now, you can actually die if you don't drink water because obviously our bodies, like you said, is like 70 to 90% water. We need
Mm-hmm.
water, so people take care of yourselves by simply just drinking water. Drink like Alexander said, 11.5 liters or milliliters a day, and whatever meters that that's at a healthy consumption. So obviously that, and then I know for personal experiences, like when you don't drink enough water, like I had to be hospitalized. I was an athlete back in high school. I had to be
Mm-hmm.
hospitalized because I was super dehydrated. Like I was probably cramping for I think 2 hours, and it
Oh
got to the
wow.
point where I was cold. Like I had trainers
Oh man,
obviously
yeah.
trying to bring my temperature down. Had the ice. I was drinking pickle juice, drinking
Yeah.
Gatorade, drinking water. They was giving me everything possible to help me get my my get to help hydrate me, and because I was also cramping. I was getting full body cramps, and I recommend people to drink water because that's one thing you don't want to have happen to you is to have full body cramps because that was a painful 2 hours, and it got to a point like I said I got cold, my skin got cold to where they had to call the hospital, and I had to go to the hospital, and then at the hospital, they had obviously they do the test and everything, and my kidneys was almost shut down on me,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
like I didn't realize how serious it was until I was obviously I had to go to the hospital, but then after the fact where the doctors like your kidneys was close to failing because you were so dehydrated. So
Yeah.
people hydrate yourselves and take care of yourselves because it's super important. And
And let me add this too, Mike, before we move on to the
mhm,
next question, which is super important, and this is for little kids as well as adults and everybody in the middle. Again, the indicator to know if you're hydrated, properly hydrated, or in the dehydration stage, it's your urine. Pay attention to your urine. If it's like I said, that amber color, that dark color, I'm sure when you talked about your experience, if you were able to pee during that time, or urine
Hmm.
during that time, it probably was the color of beer. Let's say,
Yep.
and it probably smelled really, really bad because you
Yep.
know, super, super dehydrated. And again, just pay attention to your urine, especially when you wake up in the morning and before you go to bed at night. Uh, that's super important.
Yep. Yep. Definitely. So, like we just talked about, properly hydrating ourselves, and then also, the effects of dehydration. Can you tell us? Can you talk to us about is there can you consume too much water? I think that's a question that a lot of people don't know or don't even think to know. Can you drink too much water?
Absolutely, you can definitely drink too much water. A good indicator that you actually drank too much water is when you start throwing up. It has nowhere else to go except for out. Um, so you can drink too much water. It can make you sick, and there have been known cases where people have actually died from drinking too much water. So again, looking at your urine, paying attention to your urine, paying attention to your body, and giving you the signs, it'll allow you and help you make the right decisions when it comes to hydration and proper hydration.
Yep, yep, yes, sir. I appreciate you for answering that because that's a question like a lot of people didn't know or even think to even ask or question. I know when I was in school, I majored in exercise science. I think I mentioned that to you before. I remember on
Mm-hmm.
one of my lectures, and I found that out in my exercise physiology class that if you drink too much water, you can actually die. And I remember that day, and I was like, dang, for real? Like that's a real thing. You can actually die. Like I'm mostly made out of water anyway, so that's that's a big that's a big wow when I first learned that. So I appreciate you for informing everybody about that because a lot of people don't know. I'm pretty sure that's viewing it right now. So appreciate
Yeah,
that.
no problem.
And so we talked about proper hydration, and now we're about to go ahead and shift over and talk about some differences in the waters that we drink. So, Alexander, what's the difference between tap water and bottled water?
That's a great question, man. Knowing my knowledge in the water industry, um, the difference between the two, there is none. There is none. Tap water and bottled water. Uh, honestly, they say tap water is bad, and it gives it a bad name. And we've seen the stories from places like Flint, Michigan, uh, East Chicago, various parts. I mean, it goes back history to history, but they've done a really pretty good job of uh, doing the tap water and making the tap water safe for us to drink in the United States versus other countries, right, around. The bottled water, is the tap water. Uh, Long and short of it is that you have a bottled water company that actually gets their bottle from a municipal source that comes into a building. And when it enters into that building, just like you have something under your kitchen sink that filters out the water a little bit further to get rid of some of the chemicals that have been put in by the municipal companies to stop, let's say, pipe corrosion or things like that comes through. Some of that is filtered out, not all of it. So a lot of it do make its way into the bottled water. So you are literally drinking the same water, uh, tap water versus bottled water. So they're similar to the same. And with some of the bottled water, they may add some things to it, like making it more alkaline, for example, or dropping some minerals in there to give it a more saltier taste or whatever have you. But the long and short of it is, it's both the same water um, when it comes to that.
Okay, so those extra things that they do add to the water, like the minerals and things like that, what does that do to the body? Does that benefit the body, or it really just doesn't? There's no nutritional value to it at all.
It depends on your body, man. I say if people could go to a doctor's office or wherever they can and have their blood drawn and find out what their body, uh, basically how their body produces and work through the blood. Example, um, if your body is highly alkaline, right? For example, does it make more sense for you to drink more alkaline water? I don't think so. Um, if your body is more acidic, right? Does it make more sense for you to drink more acidic water? No, it makes more sense for you to drink more alkaline to pull you to a more neutral space. And the same thing goes for the minerals, right? Like if your body is producing um, more salts than anything and it's drying you out, right? You need something, water with less minerals to make sure your body stay properly hydrated to balance those things out. Um, and I have to plug Aura Rainwater in right now because uh, Aura is that perfect water. Again, it's rainwater, so it's the perfect pH, and it'll take you from being an alkaline body to a more neutral body. It'll take you from being an acidic body to a more neutral body. But I would advise people to find out more about their body through blood tests um, to find out how their body really works.
Okay. Yep, man. I love that. And so, like you said, you just plugged in Oral Rainwater, your company. What separates Oral Rainwater from its competitors, and how is the water even harvested?
Cool. So the first part of that question is what separates us from our competitors. Our process. Uh, just like I spoke about the municipal waters that come through, and they're pretty much all the same. But once they come through, they take it through a certain process that they may do. They may add some extra things. They may, take it through reverse osmosis and whatnot. With us at Aura, we have a process that is trade secret, but it's a process that takes the water and with us at Aura, let me say this: we believe that water is alive and that water has memory, and we mimic nature as much as possible. If you look at a brook or a stream, you see that the brook and stream actually flows, right? That's not a pump on the other end, kind of forcing it and pushing it. It just flows. Um, that's that. I would say that's the biggest separators that we try to keep uh, our process, and we try to keep the water as close to nature as possible because we're catching it out of the air, right? And even our competitors, they may catch it out of the air, but their process is a little bit different. They may add a little bit extra to the end, or alter it in some sort of way, and change the structure, of the water by adding these certain elements or chemicals or whatever have you.
Okay, I love that. Sorry for the technical difficulties, everybody. Freedom Fighters and Facebook love to hold us back a little bit, so we might hear lagging here and there, but we're gonna keep it moving. Appreciate you, Alexander. So
Yeah.
now we're going to shift over a little bit. We'll talk about the on what you guys, you guys' concept and everything as far as that rainwater. How does having gratitude translate to physical health?
Man, that is an awesome question. The word gratitude. So in our series of our water and through our process, we have uh, looked at the word gratitude and know that gratitude, humbles us all. Gratitude is one of those elements. It's an emotional energy that uh, that we emit when we hear the word gratitude, when we see the word gratitude, when we read about it. That emits roughly 3 feet away from us, which we call aura, our aura. Um, we can become more a more grateful person um, just by thinking the word gratitude. So if we think the word gratitude physically, um, we embrace it. It makes us feel good. So our body overall, we hear it, and in our bodies, our body understands that particular frequency, uh, gratitude, when we hear it. If I can interject a definition real fast of the word gratitude, which is an affirmation of goodness in one's life, right? And the recognition that the source of this goodness is at least partially outside of ourselves, right? And I talked about that 3 feet aura that we have, and gratitude does that for us. But a lot of people struggle with it, and in struggling with it, they have a lot of physical health, uh, ill health. Um, Many people, we call it, they suffer from gratitude deficiency disorder, and it plays a huge effect on us physically. Example: there's a kid in your class, which I'm sure everybody out there, all your listeners know, that was a kid that, um, was the class clown, right? Uh, he was a class clown, but before he became that class clown, I'm sure he was a good kid, but along the way, somewhere, someone beat down his confidence, right? And in doing that, they destroyed his basically his gratitude. Again, going back to the definition of gratitude, is the goodness in one's life and a recognition outside yourselves. Because when you're a kid, you love everybody. You're in love with everybody. So that gets beat down, and in that getting beat down, that person, again, that gratitude deficiency disorder now begins to hone in. Someone told him something bad. Now he having all this negative energy coming in on himself, and now he turns inward. And in turning inward, as he gets older, he gets more in trouble. As he gets older, now he begins to have health problems, and those health problems comes from your body not being able to uh, emit or release the love, the joy, the gratitude uh, outward. So getting back to your question of translating how gratitude translates to physical health, the more we give gratitude, and again, outside of ourselves, the more we are able to grow. Our body listens. We are water, energy transfer, energy travels, and we're able to grow.
Yep. I love that. And obviously, like if people who's been around the Freedom Finders this past year, as from day one, knows like gratitude. That's what we all about, and that's why that's why we always align as far as bringing you on or Rainwater. You guys represent what we represent basically, and it's waking up with an attitude of gratitude because it will improve your life and improve your physical health as well. So, yep. So I
Absolutely.
appreciate that for you answering that, and for can you give us some tips? Can you give us the Freedom Finders the tips on how we could elevate our mind, body, and soul?
Yeah, man. Through water. Whether that's or rainwater or again any type of water. I'll give, because we believe, and my belief as well is that water is alive and water has memory, and water is a great indicator of uh, a great conductor of electricity, and we're electricity, we're little machines. So I'm going to give 8 best times to hydrate, according to myself and Aura. The first one is when you wake up in the morning. Uh, People when they wake up, the first thing they do is give prayer, right? So when they get down on their knees, they pray, or they talk about being grateful. But having that drink of water will allow you to do a couple of things. It'll replace the amount of water that you lost during the night. And number two, it just sets your system up to begin to operate and operate in a big fashion. So instead of reaching for that cup of coffee, get yourself some water, and take that in. Before you work out, obviously, drinking not a lot, but drinking some, because again, it hydrates you, puts you in a better mood. It gets your body going, it gets your mind right, it gets the brain going, and if you have that flowing for yourself, I mean, you got gratitude. You're in your element. You're good. The other one is, I would say, 30 minutes before you eat. Uh, there's a if you pay attention to a lot of people in their homes, they will pray right before they say grace. And as a reason they do that, they say grace because the energy exchange between ourselves and the food, we want that to be correct. Drinking water 30 minutes before will help facilitate that process on the energetic level. On the physical level with the food, it'll help it break down better and faster. You have a nice smooth transition. Again, making everything work and everybody's happy. The other thing I can say is when you're exhausted or tired, after that long day, you're exhausted and tired, drink yourself some glass of water, get properly hydrated. That will elevate your mind, it'll elevate your body, it'll elevate your soul. It makes it a lot better. You won't walk around that grumpy guy with a headache and, hollering and cursing and fussing at everybody. You properly hydrated, you're doing well. When you have a headache is another reason. And lastly, I can say when you begin to feel sick, it's a great time for you to incorporate and drink some water before you take a bath. Again, incorporating water, drinking it, taking a bath, you're nice and full, your body's hydrated, there's no elements, you're in your element, you're good. And lastly, before you go to bed, because most of us sleep 8 hours, we say. Most people sleep 12, but there's a split time difference. So while you're sleeping, you're losing weight. I mean, you're losing, water. Your body's fighting, even though mentally, spiritually, you're not there. My belief, you're on another plane, but the body still needs a proper hydration during that time at night. Um, to make itself regenerate itself and work properly. So those are some of the reasons or the hows of how you could uh, basically bring that
Elevate.
bring that back to life. Yeah, elevate your mind, body, and your soul, man. That's simple. Those simple things. Meditate.
All right, I love that. And for people, when he say, hydrate, when you take a bath, he doesn't mean by drinking your bath water. So just want to throw that out there for y'all. but uh, but yeah, man, I appreciate that, Alexander. And everybody go ahead and put in the comments, put a thumbs up if you like what you just heard, and if you plan to elevate your mind, body, and soul, and take advantage of these tips that Alexander just gave y'all, go ahead and put your thumbs up in the comments. Also, before we transition to the next question, go ahead and start before we get to the Q&A from the audience. So from the viewers, go ahead and put your questions, whatever question you have for Alexander. We're gonna have end the show off on the Q&A. So go ahead and put your questions down, and we try to get all the questions answered and asked to Alexander. So go ahead and start putting your questions in the comments. So yeah, so Mr. Alexander, what are some natural holistic change? I'm sorry, what are some natural holistic lifestyle changes that you recommend to people dealing with stress on a daily basis?
That's a good question, man. Um, on a daily basis, so I'll walk through the an 8 hour cycle, right? Waking up, man, just meditating, whether that's you going into a corner and you have your own, meditation space when you wake up after you drink your water. Um, Meditating, whether that's through sitting cross-legged, with your hands out, or getting down on your knees and praying, thanking, whoever for, whatever. That's making that a practice. I think will set your transition during the day. Giving that gratitude, right? That affirmation, knowing that today I'm going out. It's outside of myself. I'm going to make sure and do that. Um, I would say some other things is to um, tell the people that are around you that you love them. Uh, that will, again, going back to gratitude outside of yourself, telling somebody that you love them and they telling you, hey, I love you too. It's again, that's that affirmation, man. It was makes you love. Um, Also, talk to your food. We do get on this diet kick, right? Like, oh, okay, I got to take in this many calories, or I can't eat this and I can't eat that. But in reality, if you have a good relationship with your food, once you ingest it, that's energy. That's a transfer of energy. And energy is good and energy is bad, right? It's good and bad energy. So if you have a great relationship and talk to your food, again, we go back to that praying with your food, that works. Which takes us back to the nighttime, right? Going back at night again, having that drink of water, telling the people that you love them, that you love, that's in your life, and just being grateful for the day that you just had, and say, hey, how can I improve for the next day? So those little simple things, I think those will change your life, and with that, it will give you a clearer mind. Uh, your mindset will change differently, and with that, I think you can again uh, elevate. So hydrating and elevating is the key.
All right. Love that. Hydrate and elevate is the key. So hope y'all took some notes and learned a little something today. I hope you take some of these tips that Alexander's giving y'all because he's giving y'all some game. So for people, all right, people for it's people out there, and I think it's something that's very important for people who want to learn how to harvest their own water and be able to be self-sufficient, and especially for like people who live in like cities like Flint and where the tap water is obviously dirty, and I'm sure everybody's heard that crisis by now. That's been happening for some years. So hopefully, for people who wants to learn how to harvest their own rainwater, can you kind of go through a proper process, the correct way to do that?
Yeah, man. First, I would say check with your local uh, um, governments, because not every, and what I mean by local, meaning like not every city allows you to participate in harvesting rainwater. Then check with your state, right? Check with your state to see if it's allowed, for you to do it. Um, so those two things I would definitely do first. Then if that's a check mark and that's a go, I would say go down to your local hardware store like Home Depot or Lowe's and ask them for a rain barrel. Some of your municipalities in the city, they allow it, will have rain barrels. And in having those rain barrels, you can actually connect them to your home, right? And start collecting. And collecting that type of water will allow you to do two things. One, self sustainability, which you talked about. Be able to water your lawn without a water bill, which helps. Be able to water your garden, which helps. You're able to wash your car if you collect enough. Um, Drinking it, I wouldn't say go out and start drinking it, because there are certain regulations and certain things that you need to do, and there's a certain way that it needs to be filtered out, because of all of the because of your collection place. Most people in the audience will collect it from their home, right, through like a rain gutter or something, and it'll come through. But that's a lot of debris and a lot of trash. And sometimes even if you do set up like a mesh to capture that sort of stuff, the micro organisms are still attached. So I wouldn't advise anyone to ingest it or consume it, but to use it for, again, washing the car, watering the lawn, um, uh, you know, washing clothes even, would be a good way to use it. But I would check with your municipalities, check with your state. You guys can also email me at gratitude@rainwater.com with any type of questions on that. We'll be happy to help you, navigate that through in whatever state you're in, um, to help you become more self-sufficient and sustainable.
Right, man. I love that. And that's crazy. I didn't. Obviously, that's just a long process of how to get obviously your own rainwater and things like that. So is that like so is it get like against the law in some states to harvest your own rainwater?
Yeah, it definitely in some places is against the law to do that. The regulations behind that are starting to drop, state by state. Here in Texas, they allow you to do it both residential and commercial. Um, there are companies that actually will come out and actually set up, a rainwater harvesting system. There are some homes here in Austin, man, in the Austin area, that have roughly like 30,000 gallon tanks, in their backyard where they're able to collect water and use it for, flushing the toilet, washing their clothes, watering the lawn, and doing some other things that they deem and seem to do. Um, but yeah, it is a real thing, and it will become a norm um, here in the next couple of years.
Yep, definitely. So for everybody that is watching, if you as you heard, if you're looking to save some money, especially it's coming Christmas time, I would suggest harvesting your own water. You can clean, you can use it, whatever you need to do, using the toilet, whatever you need to do. That's a good way you can save some money. So hope you guys wrote that down and you're ready to take advantage of it. But Alexander, are there any other resources you can provide for our viewers on who want to learn more about the water they are consuming? Any resources, anything like that you like to plug in?
Yeah, man. So again, you guys can email Aura at gratitude at aurarainwater.com questions. We'll definitely get it out there for you and answer each email that you send, because each each state, each municipality, each system is different. But again, if you just Google rainwater harvesting in your state, a ton of information will pop up. You definitely can read about it. Um, but that would be my advice on that note.
All right. I appreciate that. And as we transition, we're about to go ahead and transition to the Q&A from the audience. And so if everybody is watching, go ahead and put a question down because I know y'all got questions about water and for Alexander. Any other question you have for him, go ahead and ask away, put it in the comments. I know we got a couple right now, so Devin, you can pull the first one up. Come from my mama. Hey, mama. She says, She said, what is your bottling process for your rainwater?
Hmm, that's a good question, uh, Mama Tauber. um, our process, we have a trade secret, but just like I explained before, we have a huge facility that's roughly 56,000 square feet that we collect off of. And as we do that, we have these huge collection tanks that we collect all the water, and we take it through a series of processes on throughout the process before it gets into the water. I can truly say that we are highly regulated. We're regulated by the FDA. We're regulated by the EPA. We're regulated by the Consumer Services here in Texas. Also, there's an agency called the TECQ, which is the Texas Quality Authority, Environmental Quality Authority, that we have to answer to. So we have to answer to like 6 different um, regulations, both locally all the way up to the federal level, state level, through our process. But we're good to go. Aura also has a unique taste, man. Because of the process that we do, and we love on our water. Every water that comes through, we give it good energy. Um, it's unique. It's a very unique taste.
All right, love that. Good question, mama. Good question. D. Scott, he has a question. He says, as a successful man in this world, do you have a certain morning routine you do every morning?
Absolutely. So my morning starts at roughly around 2:30, 3 o'clock a.m. But I also go to bed early. I go to bed around 8. That's Central Standard Time, right around 8 o'clock. But I get up in the morning, and my routine is that I drink water first thing. As soon as my feet hit the bed, I have water next to my bedside table. The minute my head pops up, I'm grabbing, reaching for that glass, bottle, drink it. My feet hit the ground. Once my feet hits the ground, I go relieve myself, and I'm off to my meditation room, and I go in, I meditate, and then from there, about 3 days a week, I will do some plyometrics, meaning I will do some push-ups, some sit-ups, jumping jacks, things like that, just to get my body flowing and moving. And after that, man, right around that time, I sit down and I begin to read around 4:30. As I'm reading around 4:30, I just read, educate myself. set my tone for the day. Look up again, and then I go and sit down and may watch a program, something light, something easy for about 30 minutes. And after that, the rest of my family wakes up, and it's time to be, time to be dad, time to be husband, time to take it all in, and have my day going. So that's my morning routine, man.
Okay, okay. Well, that's get up pretty early.
Oh
Early
yeah.
bird, early bird gets two worms. You be able to
Try to.
get two because that's early. But yeah. So we see we got any more questions? We do. Mom has another question. She says, "How much water does your company distribute yearly?"
Oh, that's a good question.
That's a
If
good
we're
one.
talking in gallons, we distribute roughly 80. Last year we distributed 890,000 gallons that we distributed. Hopefully this year we can hit a cool mill, but we're looking to continue to go up year after year from that.
All right. Hey, that's a lot. Good question. And does that it for us? Any more questions? Make sure y'all keep. If you got a couple more minutes, if y'all got any more questions, got another one. He says, if you had 3 minutes with your 18-year-old self, what are 2 to 3 things you would tell yourself?
Great question. My 18-year-old self. Uh, I would tell myself first to be more humble. uh, and the second thing I would tell myself is to stay focused, and develop a plan. Um, and the third thing I would tell my 18-year-old self is to be grateful and listen to others. Uh, those are the three things that I would definitely tell my 18-year-old self.
Okay, okay, love that. And I actually have a question for you for myself. After the Freedom Finders, what's your favorite part about your company from Or Rainwater? What's your favorite part about the company in general of what it represents and whatever that gets you going every morning?
Oh man, every morning, just as the mission states, having to share with people the true power of water and what it really does. Not only does it hydrate you, but the energetic exchange, the energy that it carries, the work that it does, not only in our bodies but also on the planet. I am a huge advocate for environmental justice, and in a lot of places where there are not adequate water, where there's food deserts, there's also water deserts. Um, those are the passionate things that is passionate for me about Aura and the work that we're doing, as we bring the power of water and its true knowledge to people.
Right, love that. And what our last question before we close out? Where can we find Or Rainwater?
Cool. So you can find Aura Rainwater definitely online at aurarainwater.com. We are rolling out uh, nationally here next year. We are in some places now, like in New York, California, um, here in Austin, obviously, in Texas. But we will be having a list on our website here pretty soon where places that where you can buy them. We're in talks with a lot of retail companies to do that. But because of today's environment and the way that business is going, where you're going direct to consumers, um, a lot of places like your Whole Foods and things like that, we decide not to go after, which is which is which is the retailer, but direct, we definitely will do. So if you guys go online to orderrainwater.com, go to the store, uh, you know, like it, click it, order it. And I have to put this preference in there. It's expensive. However, there is no price on health. And once you have the Aura experience, it's like no other. It's just not water. It's an experience. It really is.
Yep, definitely. As y'all all know, health is wealth. So make sure you go elevate yourselves by hydrating yourselves with oil rainwater. But yeah, so as we close out, as we closing out in time, make sure also the link is in the comments. So make sure I hit that link. Before we close out, Alexander, is there anything else heavy on your heart that you would like to leave the Freedom Finder family with before we close out?
Oh man, yeah, man. I want to say that we all are water, like you mentioned before. We all are, that 70 to 90% water. And as you know, with every body of water, we're all connected. We're connected energetically. So if you see your fellow person, tell them, yo, man, I'm grateful that you exist. I'm grateful. Give them a comment. Um, Let them know, again, especially the people around you, how much you love them. Um, that will carry. That has a frequency. That has energy, and it definitely carries on, and it will help you throughout your day.
Love that, love that. Hey, again, thank you so much, Alexander. You dropped so many gems with us today. And like I said, I always appreciate you for coming in and really just bringing the value to our Freedom Fighter family. Because at the end of the day, we all want to come together and educate our community and help close this health gap, this wealth gap. We want to close all these gaps so us as a community can move forward and move this needle and we want to lead this world better than when we left it. So I appreciate you on that. And
It's a pleasure, man.
Yep, definitely. So, like I said, I appreciate you, Alexander. We're definitely gonna get you on the show again one of these days. I know we're gonna have another, one of these days in the future. I'm gonna have another webinar. So, again, I appreciate you.
Will do, man.
All right, man. You have a good one. I appreciate it.
You too.
Thank you. All right, all right. Hey, Freedom Fighter family, as y'all saw it, this is a finale. Obviously, it was a banger, another banger. We've had 4 episodes, and I hope you guys have had a chance to check them all out. If not, make sure you go down to the Freedom Fighters page and check them out and like and share. And you can still comment. Right? It might not be live, but you can still comment as you are watching it. So as we close out, thank you all for joining us for the part 4 and finale of the Freedom Fighters Closing the Health Gap webinar. As we overall discussed the health disparities through chronic diseases in our communities, chronic kidney disease, how to address the high obesity rate in this country, healthy lifestyle changes, benefits of youth sports, proper hydration, and differences in our drinking water. We also talked about elevating our mind, body, and soul. So we talked about a lot. We unpacked a lot in these past 4 weeks. Hope you guys enjoyed as much as I did. We discussed the problems and we came up with some solutions. So we, as a community, can come together to close this health gap. Because it's not going to take one of us. It's not going to take a couple of us. It's going to take all of us to close this gap. So, Michael Tolliver, coming from the Freedom Fighters Close the Health Gap webinar, we are signing off. Y'all going to be healthy. Yep.